is about to host an event November 9th, and it's titled 10K via 1K virtual events. Kimberly, let everyone know how you're doing today, because we're about to get into this workshop you're about to host.
Well, I'm doing great. Super excited to be here. Thanks for having me here with your community. It's always a pleasure talking with you. It's just an absolute delight, Erica.
Hooray. This is Kimberly's second time being on Talk Virtual, so I'm really glad she made time to hang out with us. What made you want to host a workshop?
So this is the first time I've taught this workshop. I've taught a lot of other different workshops on just about all kinds of different things. I have one that teaches people how to be an audiobook narrator and voiceover artist. I have another on how the 4 types of stages every entrepreneur should get on and how to maximize each one. And we have workshops on how to give a 20-word intro in a clear, concise, and memorable fashion. There's a lot of different workshops that I've taught for entrepreneurs or people who are wanting to create their own business. But recently I've been doing I have a very large focus on virtual events, summits, and also other types of one-day events, which is a new format that we've been using. And I've put on now 70 virtual events, over 70 virtual events. And in doing so, I've sort of perfected and altered a process that is now regularly generating 5 figures in a one-day virtual event. Now, virtual events can be 3 days, they can be 1 hour, but when you have a one-day, sometimes 10-hour virtual event, sometimes 12 hours, you can generate 5 figures in a single day doing a virtual event. And I know a lot of people will pitch this like, oh, we'll put on an event and then you'll sell your product, program, or service for 5K. And as long as you sell 2 of them, we've done 10K, we've done 5 figures, right? But that's not what this class is about. This is teaching my exact formula that creates $10,000 or more, sometimes $20,000, sometimes $30,000 in revenue from the actual event itself. And it's a really cool system that we've developed that seems to be producing 5 figures quite regularly now. And it's something that I've decided that people would like to learn. And so I'm sharing my methodology to do that.
I like that you're sharing. It's like, I'm trying to find the words here. It's a really nice process that I know you're making a lot of money out of, and to share it with others, to let them get in on that, that's amazing. That's like really generous.
Well, I'm excited about it because I think that really there are so many entrepreneurs out there that are struggling, that are trying to find the methodology, that are trying to figure it out. I know a lot of entrepreneurs who have said, oh, I tried doing a summit and it didn't work. And I'm like, all right, what did you try? And then they tell me the stories. And I've heard a lot of different stories about why virtual events haven't worked for entrepreneurs. One reason is if they do a web summit, that they couldn't find enough speakers for it, or that the speakers didn't promote effectively, or that the speakers, in some cases, didn't bother to show up for the event, like a live event, or that it was a recorded event and they spent a lot of time on the editing only to have like 3 or 4 people watch the recording afterwards, or that it was dragged out over a period of 45 days, and the people who were at the end of the days didn't get many views, the people at the beginning did, and it didn't seem quite fair. I've heard a lot of stories from people who've spoken on summits that, and my own experience of speaking on other people's summits, that the summit views there weren't a lot of people in the live room, or that I didn't get very many views on my particular talk, or that the other speakers didn't promote effectively, or that I didn't get a lot of people added to my list. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong with a one-day summit, or summits in general. And our system actually circumvents the 3 main problems that they are. And we may make it designed as a win-win-win. That means that it's a win for the show host, it's a win for the audience, and it's also a win for the speakers who perform on it.
I like that. So when you're doing your training, will there be some kind of way for people to know how to pick their speakers, how to get their speakers to promote, and how it can all be fair? I mean, I always tell my 7-year-olds there's no such thing as fair. Is there a such thing as fair?
Well, I'm a big fan of the law of attraction. Do you study the law of attraction, or do you know of it, or do you follow it at all? Okay.
Yep.
So the law of attraction says that whatever you bring to whatever is happening in your life, you have brought to yourself, right? And while some people have brought to themselves poverty, and some people have brought untold riches, some people have brought great relationships, and some people have brought terrible relationships. And people could look at that and say, that's not fair, right? It's not fair that you have no money and somebody else has loads of money, or you have terrible relationships and somebody else has great relationships. And it is fair because the law is the law, right? It's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, and it's all up to us. Well, the same thing applies with pretty much everything in the universe. And this is no exception to the law of attraction, just like the law of gravity. It applies whether you believe in it or not. It's, you don't have to study the law of attraction. It's still going to apply. You don't have to study the law of gravity. There's no danger of you accidentally falling up if you don't study the law of gravity, right? It's going to apply whether you know about it or not. But that's the principle of it. And so you're going to create your event in whatever way you want to create it. The edge with us is that we've done 70 of them, and we've found some of the problems, and we've experienced some of the problems. The very first summit I did, I ended the first day literally in tears. I mean that literally. I was sobbing at the end of day one. We had so many tech problems. And you know this, Erica, with working with virtual events. Tech is key on a virtual event, right? It's one of the major factors of virtual events. Your tech has to work in order for it to be a success. Whereas an in-person event, if your tech breaks, you can still talk to the audience. If your tech breaks on a virtual event, not so much, right? It's very difficult. So it is one of the players in a virtual event is to have the tech working for you. And our tech failed in every way it possibly could. Our emails didn't go out properly. When they did go out, they had bad links on them. When the links were right, they didn't work. And then when we actually got up and live and working on our third talk, no less, our second talk, actually, we had a recording. So we played that for the audience, and some of the audience was watching the replay because we had it playing in a Facebook group as a workaround. It was ridiculous. By the time we had the third talk, which was actually up and running, that started to work, and we thought we were hitting a really good stride. The fourth talk went off pretty well. By the time we were on our fifth one, we're like, okay, this is all working. At the end of the day, probably about the eighth talk, we started hearing that there was a problem with the recordings, that they weren't uploading. Like, where are the replays of these recordings? And at the end of the day, I couldn't deal with it during the day, but at the end of the day, we looked back and 0 of our 10 talks had been recorded. 0 of 10 had recorded properly.
Oh no.
Exactly. Like, I was literally in tears at the end of the day. So I have been through all kinds of issues and problems on the tech side. The second time I did the summit, I was like, all right, I figured out the tech problems. We've worked through them and I've solved some of those problems, but there suddenly were other problems that appeared. Once I solved those problems, then other things occurred that I was like, wow, I haven't seen this problem before. This is a new problem that I have to solve. So with the second one, I had speakers that weren't properly promoting. And I had brought back a lot of the speakers from the first summit that I'd done because they did such a great job. Well, the funny thing is, Erica, I don't know if your audience knows, but you know that when the key to a summit is that everybody promotes. Everybody tells their audience that they're going to be speaking on a summit, and they all bring their own audiences to watch the summit. And that way, everybody gets everybody's audience. Well, I had just assumed that everybody was going to do what I did and promote effectively, and some perhaps more than others. We actually had some speakers that did not promote at all. One that had a list of 125,000, and we gave him the kickoff spot. And the day before, we were like, okay, well, you didn't promote yet. And he said, oh, I did. I guess my people just didn't want your stuff. And I was like,
wow.
holy moly, I could understand getting only 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 signups, but out of 125,000 to have 0, I didn't really have a strong belief that he actually did what he said he was going to do. So, but I didn't have any way to hold that against him. He was our kickoff speaker. I'd already advertised he was speaking. So he came and he spoke. He got 400 people that registered for his talk, and he brought me 0. And I was like, that's not really fair, right? That's not nice. The second thing that happened is I invited a lot of my speakers that had been on my first summit to come back and speak again on my second summit. And while they did promote, and they did promote effectively, they were bringing the same people that were already on my list. And so while I was getting a larger amount of people registered for the summit, I didn't really add as many people to my list as I did with the first one, because they were bringing the same people that had already been added to my list. Now, that wasn't entirely a bad thing, because they were sharing knowledge with that audience. And I'm sure your audience has heard of the maximum that it takes 8 to 12 touches to really build that know, like, and trust in order for people to buy from you. So that was our second touch, which was great, but in one way, but in another way, it did not build my list. So there were mistakes that I made that were new mistakes on my second summit. By the time I was done with my second summit, I was ready to throw in the towel. Have you ever felt like that?
Yeah. Yeah. I do want to ask you, you have this saying, if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. And you cried the first time. What made you want to do it the second time?
That's a really good question. I did really enjoy many parts of the summit. What I didn't like on the first one was the tech issues. And I thought, okay, well, it was fun interviewing the candidates, right? Like, it was fun interviewing the speakers, and it was fun having the interaction with the audience. And in fact, they were really on my side. I had people emailing like, please, I want to see what you're doing. Like, this is fantastic. And I'm so disappointed for you. I had an email that said, my heart is breaking for you because I know how much you wanted to make this happen. And I'm here with you, and I will stick it out with you. Just let me know what the link is, right? And I had very warm, loving, supportive comments from both the speakers and the audience. So that made me want to do it a second time. When I did it the second time, and I had problems a second time, because I had fixed the problems from the first one. When I had problems the second time, I had that same feeling like, man, this is great and all, but some things suck, right? Not only that, it didn't really pay. I wasn't really making money off of this. And I thought, okay, well, this was a lot of work. And while it was fun, it wasn't making any money. So I was complaining to a friend, like, I'm going to throw in the towel. I'm not going to do this again. And many of your folks have had either the first experience or the first and second experience, or a combination of one or the other. So I'm not surprised that a lot of people throw in the towel. So how did I make it to 70? Is that probably the next logical question?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a good question. How do you make it to 70 after the first 2 were kind of not a huge success? Well, I have a friend and a colleague in the industry, and I had talked about it with him and one other friend, and she had done summits as well. They'd both done summits. And the first one, my girlfriend had said, one of the mistakes that had been made at her summit, or one of the tragedies at her summit, was that she had 12 speakers lined up, and 3 of them no-showed the talks. They just didn't come. They did, and It was a live summit, and they just didn't show up. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, how can I protect myself from having that problem, right? Luckily, she had done that before my first summit even happened. And it was actually something that benefited me in a huge way, because 2 weeks before my summit went live, her summit had happened, and I found out that her speakers no-showed. So I forced all of my speakers to pre-record their talks, even though we were going to do it live. I had them pre-record all their talks with me, so that in the event that they no-showed, that I would be able to have those recordings, and I would play it during the event. Well, in fact, one of my talks didn't work properly. And so we played the recording of their talk during the time where my system was breaking down. So that actually worked in my favor. Not only that, as I mentioned, the first day didn't have any of the live events recorded. And so I went back and used all of the pre-recordings to be able to use those for the replays from my audience who had bought the VIP ticket, which included the replays. So I had protected myself accidentally from that damage.
That's really smart.
Yeah, well, it wasn't smart. It was a total accident that worked in my favor. By the time I'd done my second one, I talked to my other friend and he said, Kimberly, did you have fun doing the summit? And I said, well, it was a mess and it didn't pay. And I had new problems and there's so many problems with it. And the first one was a disaster. And the second one didn't pay. And I had new problems with it. And he said, that wasn't the question I asked you. I asked you, did you have fun? Just like you did, Erica. Did you have fun? Right? And I said, yeah, I had fun during the event. Like I had fun, even though somebody didn't promote and they got 400 people signed up for their talk and they gave me nobody. And I had fun because it was an enjoyable day. The audience loved it. We had really good reviews. We did a survey at the end of the talk and people were like, I love it. I can't wait for number 3. We had really positive results. So all in all, it was really a good experience, even with the bad, right? So I had fun. And he said to me, very famous words now, well, if you had fun, why don't you keep doing it until it monetizes? And I thought, this is the mistake that most entrepreneurs make. They give up 3 feet from gold, right? They give up because they're still in struggle. They're still frustrated by things. And they're like, oh, that didn't work. Never mind. I'm not going to do it again. And I was right there. I was 3 feet from gold and I was ready to give up. 3 Feet from Gold is a book and I don't know who wrote it. And it's terrible that I can't quote the author, but it's about this story of a gold digger in the California gold rush who had invested and spent his last dime to get to California and invested in property and so that he could find gold, and had been digging and digging and digging and came up completely empty. And he gave up and he spent all his money and went bankrupt. And he was like, I'm giving up. I'm selling my plot of land. There's nothing in it anymore. And I'm out of here. And somebody got the plot of land after he gave up, dug 3 more feet, and there was gold. And that methodology is what a lot of entrepreneurs follow, right? Like, I'm going to try, I'm going to try, I'm going to try, and it didn't work, so I'm giving up. But if they just kept going, there would have been gold. Well, I was at that point. I had been digging and I was 3 feet from gold. And luckily, I had gotten this great advice from my friend who said, just keep doing it as long as it's fun until it monetizes. And I was like, that is not a bad idea.
How long did you have to go or keep going before you had fun and it became monetizable?
Well, it wasn't very long. The third one really did make a profit, a significant profit. The second one made a profit, but it was so small that I was like, what's my actual hourly wage here? Like, if you make $1,000 from the summit and you're like, yay, I made $1,000. That's great. But how many hours did you actually work to get that $1,000, right? Anybody that knows like just basic math, okay, if I worked 10 hours putting the summit together and it was just the 10 hours of the actual summit, great. That's $100 an hour. But it's not just the 10 hours of the summit. It's all the work beforehand. It's all the effort that my team was putting forth. It's all the expense that I had on creating the platform and paying for software to be able to put it on, to upgrade my Zoom accounts, to be able to do a webinar, to be able to have enough room to be able to have the upgraded Zoom, right? Zoom is it's not free. Unless you do the free version, then you can only do it for 30 minutes before it shuts off, right? And there were a lot of things that I was doing that I was spending money on that didn't make the $1,000 worth it at all, right? So how long until it became profitable? Number 3, it started to become really profitable, where it wasn't just profitable like I made $1,000 and then it was my hourly wage was $2 an hour, right? It started to become profitable. It started to make money. Not only did it make me money, but it made my affiliates money. My affiliates are my speakers, the people that are on the summit who brought the rest of the audience to me, right? Those people helped me find people who came for free. I didn't charge anybody to come to the summit. They all came for free, but many of them upgraded to the VIP package. When they upgrade to the VIP package, now I'm making money and my affiliates are making money as well. So if I sell a ticket for $100, 97, my VIP gets, or my VIP pays, we're going to call it 100 just to make it a nice even number. I would get $50 and my affiliate would get $50 as well. Although I don't quite get $50 because PayPal takes a chunk out of it as well, right? Yeah. So you got to think of all of the different expenses that go into it. And when you do, eventually your summit can make a really sizable profit, but you've got to be able to make more than just $1,000 or just chump change, right? You got to be able to make enough to pay for your platform. You've got to be able to make enough to pay for your team if you have one. You've got to be enough to pay your affiliates and to upgrade Zoom and all of the other expenses as well, and then start making a profit. So that's why when I started making a sizable income, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 8,000, 10,000 and beyond. I've had events that have netted 38, $50,000 in revenue, not all profit, but in revenue. To be able to generate that kind of revenue from a single event is very, very powerful. And to be able to generate $10,000 from just the event itself before I even sell my program, product, or service, that is really something to not sneeze at, right? Now I've generated finances that can pay to do all of these things and pay for the process of doing my summit, pay my affiliates out, pay me, and have some change in my bank account that's sizable. And in addition to that, I've generated leads, over 1,000 leads from the summit process that we create, many times over 1,000 leads, sometimes 2,000, sometimes 3,000 leads from a single day summit. And when you generate that many leads, hot leads that are now in your list, then you can promote your program, product, or service to them after the event itself and make even more. So this formula is really, really powerful formula to add serious rocket fuel to your engine.
I like that. You mentioned that you pay your affiliates 50%. I've worked with so many people, and you wouldn't believe how many do not want to pay anything for affiliates. Can you speak to anything about that? Because 50% is pretty generous.
Absolutely. So, and most of my events do pay a 50% affiliate fee. Some of them do pay a 30% affiliate fee. 30% is fine. It's actually quite standard in the industry. The software that we set up actually recommends 30%, and there's nothing wrong with that. Paying nothing for an affiliate is out there. There are people who don't pay affiliate commissions to the people who bring them business. In my business, in my way of thinking, if I'm getting business because you're bringing me a person who is making a sale, I am happy to pay for that. It's much better than paying Facebook or ads, or a commercial ad on a radio, $10,000, and hoping that it gets a result that pays you money. If affiliate commissions are only paid out when you make a sale, and it's only paid out to the people who brought you the sale. So I'm happy to pay for guaranteed performance instead of paying for, I'm going to post and pray, right? It's absolutely my favorite way of paying commissions, or paying for making a sale, but it's also my favorite way of making money. I love making money when somebody else sells something, right? I don't have to deliver anything. All I have to do is tell people about it. And I tell people, oh, come to the Talk Virtual Summit. It's going to be an amazing summit. Come play with us, right? And I'm going to be speaking on it. And then my people come and they show up to a virtual event that you have. And when they buy your stuff, I don't have to do anything. You do all the work and I get paid for that. Yes, thank you. Sounds like a great plan to me.
I like that. I really do. So with affiliates and Facebook ads, or just ads in general, I never put the two together to be equivalent of each other. I was like, I'm gonna start using that now.
Right? Because if you are paying and hoping that you get a lead, and then hoping that lead turns into a sale, and you're paying way before it's even a lead, that's money that's spent. That is an expense. That's not even really an investment. When you pay for something that's not only a lead, but an actual sale where you made money, I am happy to do that all day long.
Yeah. So I want to give a tip for everyone who's watching if they are affiliates. If you're on an event that you're speaking on, don't promote yourself, or you can, but you get more attention if you promote someone who's also going to speak on that summit, and you tell why you're excited to hear them speak on that topic.
Absolutely. When you're speaking, you can actually promote that you're sharing the stage with so-and-so. If there's somebody that's really a great speaker on the event, like, oh my gosh, I'm sharing this stage with Jack Canfield, or with anybody that's special in your world, whoever it is. If you know that somebody else is speaking on that, and you're like, wow, I'm on it with Erica Bates. This is going to be incredible. Check it out, right? That can be, and Erica Bates is really well known in this particular, in our industry. You are really well known. And if I say I'm speaking on an event with Erica Bates, and I'm really, really proud of that, but check out all these other speakers too. You can cross promote their talks, and then let them know, I'm also talking at 10 a.m. the same day, or whatever the case may be. You can let your tribe, because they're going to be following you and what you're up to, but you can also cross promote who the other amazing speakers are. Absolutely. That's a really great tip, Erica.
Yeah, cross promotion is a real tangible thing that everyone can do.
Yes.
But it works well for me because I suck at promoting myself. But for everyone else, I think I'm pretty good. I hope.
Absolutely. You're one of our greatest promoters. We absolutely love working with Talk Virtual.
Hooray. So a good thing about being an affiliate and having the host of an event on your show, you can make clips of the talk that they're doing, and you can use your affiliate link under that video clip, and you can send it out as reels, you can send it out as shorts, you can send it out as TikToks. Yeah, just make sure you have your link there.
That is awesome. I wish I was as fluent at being able to create shorts and videos as you are. It's absolutely a phenomenal opportunity to be able to get out on so many different social media platforms and get seen and heard in a bigger way. If you are fantastic at TikTok, keep going at it. It's a phenomenal platform. If you feel like that might be a daunting task, then connect with somebody, a partner who also is really good at that. I do have team members on my team who do, I think they do Instagram. I don't think they're doing TikTok, but they do Instagram, and they do LinkedIn, and clearly Facebook is our main platform, but we have several others as well. I don't even know how to spell Instagram. Like, I can't do that at all, but somebody else, if they can do it, I'm all for it.
So I would like to recommend repurpose.io.
Ooh,
You can take the full video and it'll chop it up itself.
wow.
If you want to chop it up yourself, I would recommend Missing Letter. You tell it where to go and it sends it out. You can also send out the full video, but it's better if it's in shorter pieces. With Missing Letter, they also have Missing Letter Curate, and people will volunteer to share your stuff. You can still put your affiliate link on that too.
Wow, great idea. What was the first one again?
Repurpose.io.
Awesome. Well, you should put the affiliate link, if you have one, for that in the comments section below, because that is a really good tip. Both of those really good tips.
What I really like about Repurpose is that there are no watermarks, and wherever you say it, you want it to go, it will go. Like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. You can have your own logo as a watermark, and it goes there.
Holy cow. All right. Well, I'm going to definitely have to tell my team about that. They're going to have to check that out.
Yeah. So it's great if you wanted to chop it up itself. So yeah, it's great for that. So how many workshops have you hosted? I know you've hosted 70 events and all, but I know you have like in-person retreats also.
We do. I have an in-person retreat coming up in February, I believe. Yep, February, which is in Texas. We're having a speaker retreat, and it is a fantastic event. Our speakers not only get information, but they actually get real-time practice, and they get to get on our stage 6 different times, 6 different ways. They get on a podcast, they get on the live stage, they get interviewed. It's really, really powerful, and they get to stand up and introduce and make an offer. And during our last several, we've done, I think, 4 of them now. During our our last several events, our speakers that have gotten on our stage and shared their talk just in practice have actually made sales with their call to action. 80% of our speakers at our last event made sales during the event. So it's not just a like, I'm going to show up and learn stuff. It's actually putting it into practice and making it work and making it convert. So absolutely, our Texas event is going to be phenomenal. I'll give you an affiliate link for that one as well if people want to come join. It's a lot of fun. I teach it with my business partner, Ginny Trask, and we teach 4 different types of stages that entrepreneurs can leverage in order to really up their game in speaking.
Do you have a favorite of?
There's actually a secret 5th stage as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, I wanted to know if you had a favorite of those.
Of the stages?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's actually the secret 5th stage. I'll reveal it to your audience, but the secret 5th stage is actually your own stage. That's my favorite stage. There are 4 different kinds of stages. The first one is speak to sell. The second one is a paid speaking gig, meaning you get paid to share your knowledge with the world. The third is an authority stage like TEDx, or another stage that gives you authority and credibility just by being on it, because you've had to pass certain criteria in order to get on that stage. And the 4th stage is a rehearsal stage, a practice stage that can actually give you appropriate feedback for the type of talk you give. A lot of people use Toastmasters as a rehearsal stage, which can be good, but they usually limit their talks to 7 minutes or less, and they don't promote speak to sell at all. So if you're trying to get speak to sell talk practiced, and it's an hour-long talk and it does speak to sell, Toastmasters is not going to help you a whole lot. So we actually give you access to other rehearsal stages as well.
I like that you said that your favorite was your own stage. You wouldn't believe how many people just on LinkedIn that I hear complain that, oh, that event didn't have too many people that looked like me. Oh, I wasn't invited. Oh, I wasn't paid. Who cares? You can make your own stage. You can literally make your own stage.
You absolutely can. I just had, and it's shocking to me that those things are still happening. I am a huge believer in women and people of color stepping up on the stage and sharing their message with the world. And I actually have a stage called Voices of Color specifically for that, and Voices of Women, because I'm super passionate about everybody has a message. No matter what you look like, no matter who you are, you have a message to share with the world. This is one of my passion subjects. And I'm all about giving people the opportunity to share their message with the world. And if you don't feel invited to somebody else's stage, absolutely create your own. And you don't need anybody's permission to do that. You don't need a license. You don't need a certification. You can just decide to create a stage right now. You can call it Wednesdays at 1, Tuesdays at 2, Thursdays at 3, Fridays at 5, Saturdays at 6. You can do it anytime you want. Just go live on Facebook regularly and consistently, and then invite other people to join you. Now you have a show. The consistency is the key. You can't just be intense about it and decide to do it and then give up. You've got to be consistent on it. Bruce Lee said consistency beats out intensity every single time. And he was talking about martial arts. He said, I would rather try to beat somebody who was really intensely learning a kick than somebody who'd been consistently practicing that kick over a period of years. And I was like, really good point.
Yeah, because they know what they're doing. So my thing is that YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, so many. I mean, right now we're live streaming to 11 different platforms.
Holy moly.
They're all free. All I had to do was set it up. I went to a speaker's Playhouse event, and we were in a breakout room, and a woman said that she didn't have a stage. And everyone said, well, just set one up right now. Just set up a Facebook group right now. She did it within that time. We had a very short amount of time, and she did it right then and there. She got 3 speakers to be on her stage.
That's awesome. I love it. And it's so It's such a powerful platform to be able to just decide. That's all you have to do. Just decide that you want to do that, and you can make that happen. Very, very, that's a great story. I love it. Speakers Playhouse is a phenomenal opportunity. It's a combination of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, Whose Line Is It Anyway, where the points don't matter, and or they matter a whole lot depending on who you are, and the most fast-paced networking event that you've ever been to. It's sort of like speed dating for speakers.
Yeah. So that's Thursdays at 1:30 Eastern time.
Correct. It's
Okay.
10:30 a.m. Pacific or 1:30 p.m. Eastern, and it's the best 90 minutes of your week on Thursdays.
That's true. It's always a good time. So your event that's coming up, it's a workshop. It's happening November 9th, and it's gonna be 3 hours.
It is. It's actually, see, there's always something secret with me. There is 3 hours of content that we're going to go over, and I'm going to give you my exact process for how I create these 10K single day virtual events. We were going to call it like 10K in 10K in one day. That's not entirely true because it takes longer than one day to set up the one day event. But the one day event does generate $10,000 or more. In many cases, I've done that many times over. So I'm confident, and there's no guarantee that you're going to get the same results. Your results may vary, but our process is really clear, and I'll share with you exactly how it works and exactly what you need to do. And if you follow the process like Martin Salama did, he was one of our first people, my first clients to cross through that 10K mark. I think he made something like $38,000 in revenue in that first event. It was absolutely phenomenal. And this did not include him selling his program, product, or service afterwards. It is a tried and true method now. And I'm going to share exactly what that is. And we're going to go through that process during those 3 hours. After those 3 hours, the recording will be complete and the replay will be available to anybody who purchased the ticket to be able to come to that event. After the event, immediately following, we will begin a 1 hour session, which is a private session for live attendees only. So if you're able to attend live, stick around for that private session. We're going to do some secret stuff afterwards, and there will be some really cool offerings for the people who bother to take the time to clear their calendar, make the time to show up live.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about hanging out with you, Speakers Playhouse, is that you get to do stuff. You don't just sit there. You come away with stuff because you're actively participating.
I love that you said that. That makes me so happy, because if I will, so many people say words don't teach, and it's completely true. Words do not teach. You've got to take action in order for something to settle in and really, really get the learning there. It is something that's very, very powerful once you actually take action. So I love that you said that we actually get things done in Speakers Playhouse or in our events. And it's true, we do. At the end of every summit, you've learned so much. But at the end of every summit, we now have a wrap-up call where the speakers will come back on and they'll give one tiny action that you can take in the next 7 days in order to step forward into their truth, step forward into what they had recommended. What they might recommend is an entire change to your social media platform or revamping all of your LinkedIn. But what they might suggest at the end is, on your LinkedIn profile, there's a little button right next to your name that has it has a microphone near it. Do you use this button?
Yeah, I call it a speaker box.
Yes. Do you want to tell them what the speaker box does?
Well, you're supposed to say your name so people know the pronunciation, but I like to invite people to the events that I'm hosting.
Isn't that amazing? On your LinkedIn profile, you can actually push a little speaker button and it will pronounce your name for you, or you read into it how to pronounce your name. So you say Kimberly Crowe, but you don't just have to do that. There's a little more space in there, and you can say, I'm Kimberly Crowe, and I'd love to invite you to my 10K in one day virtual event program happening on November 9th. So after this talk, I'm actually going to go do that on my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, that LinkedIn, you can do so much. So if you have an event, put that in your banner. That one link that you have, make that link go to your event. That speaker box, invite people to your event. I think the next one is your features. Your feature post should be about your event. Your activities should have your events about the event that's coming up. And if you can put anything about what was it, a work experience, it should be working on that event.
I love it. This is so powerful. And I'm actually going to go do that right now because those are great tips. And at the end of all of our talks, we invite our speakers to come back and share their one small tip. That one small tip, if you all took action on that right now, it could get you one extra client. That one extra client could get you a $500 purchase. That one extra client, when they buy that $500 purchase, could upgrade into your $5,000 program or $25,000 program. Just making that one action could be what the connection was in order to make $25,000 happen in your business. Are you willing to take the action? If it could net you $25,000, all you have to do is take action. But you can't just listen and do nothing.
Yeah, because you'll get nothing. You got to actually move. Keep moving forward.
It's true.
So, how often or how far apart are your events spaced out? Because we got this one coming up, the workshop in November 9th, and then you got the one coming up in February. How do you give yourself time to take a break or relax? I know you just got back from Spain.
I know.
But it's like you're hitting the ground running.
You hit me at a very particular time because I took 2 months off where I went to Spain, and thank goodness you jumped in as a virtual summit host yourself. You were able to help with some of our summits and be able to produce summits while I was gone in Spain. That's the power of having friends in the industry and having partners that you can rely on and really count upon during times where you want to take a vacation. So yes, I was gone for 2 months in Spain. When I came back, I hit the ground running, as you said. I had pushed off all of my events until after I got back. I just got back. Yesterday, I did my Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel Web Summit. Today, we do Speakers Playhouse, and I have a class that I'm teaching this afternoon. The day before the Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel Web Summit, I taught my audiobooks class. And tomorrow, I have an entire day-long event called Embrace the Woo. 3 days ago, we had 4 days ago, we had Potapalooza, which is a one-day virtual event. Both the virtual events that we are running generated over 10K. So it's just a very powerful week and month for me right now. So, and I guess it's not a month because we overlapped in October. But a 30-day period, I will say it's an extremely busy time for me.
That's nice that you know people that you can ask to step in while you take a month off. Like, I want to do that. I want to take a month off.
Let's do that. As an entrepreneur, are you taking a vacation? I was on my virtual event yesterday. One of the people taught about how to set up your business so that you can take a vacation. And I'm all for it. If you are not planning, putting it in your calendar, like these are the days that I'm going to be shut down, then you're a bad boss. Even if you were at corporate working a W-2 job, you probably would have time off between Christmas and New Year at least. You probably would have a vacation time. You probably have sick days. If you're not giving yourself an opportunity to have time off, then you're making a huge mistake with like pretending that you have this freedom lifestyle. So build into your business an opportunity to take a vacation. Maybe not a month off today, but if you can work yourself up to it, it's a very powerful ask to do of your business, and it will really give you the freedom lifestyle that you want to have.
I like that. I'm gonna need to talk to that guy who did a talk on your stage about taking vacations.
Yeah. Not only that, I actually travel full time. In August 20th of 2020, I left my house that I'd lived in for 20 years. And I started traveling full time. And it's a really powerful decision to do something like that. I thought it would be fun for about 6 months, and I made the commitment to myself that I'd do it for 6 months and see how it was. I thought it would be amazing and fun, but I did give the caveat that it might get awful after a while, staying in hotels and not knowing where I was going to be next week, next month. And I'm telling you, it has been super liberating. It's been over 2 years now, and I absolutely love it. I don't know when I will go back and own a home again, but it's really fun to live a truly freedom lifestyle.
Where's your favorite place?
Oh, my favorite place. Man, I love Madrid. I love a lot of places in Spain. Madrid, Spain is absolutely beautiful. We were walking the Camino across the top of Spain, and I ran into another city, and I've forgotten the name of it. San Sebastian is gorgeous. But there was another little city in the middle, and I was like, man, I could live here. Like I could just drop out of society and live right here. The only problem with living in Spain is that the time zone doesn't work for me because I work in Pacific time. And that's a really bad time to be working in Spain. It's like 4 p.m. until like, I don't know, 2 a.m. or something. It doesn't translate at all.
Wow. Now I want to know, how do you train your body to work in time zones while traveling?
Yes, actually, it's not so much my body, but it's my work. So I only book calls during Pacific time. This particular talk is one very rare exception because I started this talk at 7 a.m. Pacific. Normally, I don't book anything before 9 a.m. Pacific. This particular week, though, I knew exactly where I was going to be. I happen to be in Florida, so it is 10:46 right now, and I figured that I could probably make it. Although I didn't get all my makeup on this morning, so maybe not.
I'm glad you made it, and you're always beautiful. I like that you
Oh, thank
always
you
have
very much.
glasses that match your clothes.
I don't. These are the only glasses I have. It just happens that I have clothes that match my glasses.
Love that. So that I wasn't even thinking about using a schedule. I was thinking that you actually trained your body and your mindset to say, "Hey, I'm gonna be up for these hours." But a schedule,
Yeah,
smart.
it's just it is. And as a matter of fact, to answer your question bluntly, I have my phone on the time that whatever time zone I'm in. My phone always tells me what time it is where I am. But my computer always remains on Pacific time zone. So if I look at my computer right now, it says 7:47 a.m. And my Google Calendar always works in Pacific. I never change those. So when I'm booking calendar items and I'm booking talks with people or interviews with people, I'm always booking them in Pacific time. And I try to keep my schedule so that I have time off, right? That I only work a certain number of hours, and that I also only work a certain number of days. So in a week, I always have Mondays off, with rare exceptions, like this is an exception, right? But I have Mondays off, generally speaking. The reason I take Mondays off is, first of all, I never liked Mondays, right? Like, who likes Mondays? Who likes to just like be like, oh, Monday morning, I got to go to work again, right? So why not take Mondays off if you're an entrepreneur? So I love having my Mondays off. And Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I often have a 3-day event. So I might be at an event Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If I don't have Monday off, then I'm working like consistently, right? So I take Mondays off. Mondays are my travel day. If I have to get on an airplane, I will travel on Monday.
I like that you have this set schedule. Are these like your non-negotiables, that things that you just wouldn't change, even though you made an exception for me, and I appreciate that.
I love how you say non-negotiable, but with exceptions. And it's true. They're not really non-negotiables. As an entrepreneur, I don't know how many non-negotiables you can really set in stone. Everything really is negotiable with a few exceptions. You would never want to do anything that would impose on your marriage or your family life. I would, I would schedule my entrepreneurship around being able to watch my kids play polo when they were playing polo. Those kinds of things for me, that was non-negotiable. However, there were times when I had a person that was like a client that needed me, and I was at a polo match and I could step out and talk to them. So the word non-negotiable, I don't know, for me, it has some flexibility with it.
All right, I understand. I got to go back to the timing and schedule things. On your list of outcomes for your event that's happening on the 9th, timing was one of them. Did you just give us a little sample of that?
A little example of timing?
Yeah, I'm asking what you talked about with the scheduling. Was that an example of what's going to happen in the workshop?
So we do talk about scheduling in the workshop. The times the time zone that you are in may not be the time zone that is best for your entire audience. When you're working virtually, you're addressing the entire world that has access to internet. We very frequently get people from Germany or Egypt or Australia, very frequently from Australia and New Zealand. We have a lot of Aussies and Kiwis in our group. Those folks, they need to be considered when you're planning your event. However, we find that if we operate in Pacific time, we get pretty much the majority of the people that are entrepreneurs and speakers. If you are addressing parents, you may want to plan things on the weekend as opposed to the weekday. Entrepreneurs will go to a summit on the weekday because they want the weekends for their family time. And the weekday is when they're learning about entrepreneurship and speaking. On the other hand, parents usually have a job, right? They have a job, they're working 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And so if you're planning a summit that addresses parents, you're going to want to put it on the weekend when they can get a hold of that and really get access that information. So you're going to want to plan your schedule around what your audience does, not necessarily the schedule that you work. So when I was in Spain, anytime that I was doing an event, I needed to plan around that event was going to happen during Pacific time. Speakers Playhouse is a great example of that. Speakers Playhouse happens at 10:30 to noon every single Thursday. While I was 2 months in Spain, I did Speakers Playhouse every single week. It just so happened that 10:30 was 7:30 p.m. in Spain, so it worked out perfectly. 7:30 p.m. I think it was 7:30, or it might have been 5:30. I can't remember now. It worked out perfectly. So I think it was 5:30. So I got in to our finished walking for the day because we were walking the Camino, got into our albergue. And then at the end, and then I started Speakers Playhouse at 5:30, finished at 7:30, and then we were off to dinner. So it worked out really well. But I still had to be operating in Pacific time.
I can understand that. I was just looking at the list of outcomes from the event, and I was thinking, if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. And I'm thinking, how can timing be fun? But you just explained it. You can do so much more stuff when you have a schedule and you know what you're supposed to do at what time. So I understand that better now. I want to say thank you for explaining that. I do want to share the sign up page for your event that's coming up this Wednesday on the 9th. So to let people know how to get to it.
Awesome.
Okay, so this is it. How to generate 10K via one-day virtual events with Kimberly Crowe. As she says, 9 a.m., 12 noon Pacific, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern. And you can read all about what's happening here. See, timing is one of the first things. Yeah, some of these things I just didn't consider.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm thinking everyone's on Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Time.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, we do need to pay attention to that. The other thing with timing that we're going to be talking about is when in the season and when in the month and when in the week are you going to be having it. So all kinds of considerations with timing. That's a great question. I wasn't sure what you were asking, but now that I see it there, I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to talk about that, but we're also going to talk about these other things. So yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a whole list of things: event budget, how to find expert speakers, preparing to the attendees and guests, marketing materials, websites, getting promoted by influencers, lighting, cameras, technology. That's a very good one. I need help with my lighting.
Oh, your lighting's pretty good. I've seen some that is really a lot worse. So yours is pretty good.
All right. Just a few more. I want everybody to know what they're going to get by attending. So resources and support, interviewing techniques, orchestrating an audience of your ideal customers, repurposing content. I love that one already. How to ensure your affiliate successful promote the event. I would love to know more about that one as well. Handling live event drama and mitigating risk.
Yeah. Live event drama is a big part of it. People often don't do events because they're like, I could never do an event live. What, you never know what's going to happen. I do all of my events live. We do offer replays after the event is over, just like we will with this one. But doing live events, there's so much value in doing a live event that we'll talk about that during the session, but there's an enormous amount of value to doing a live event that it's just not worth overlooking it entirely. If you're committed to a recorded event, I get you, I understand, but I want you to be open-minded to the possibility that a live event might net you more in the end.
Yeah. I love live events.
Right? We're doing live events right now. This is a live event.
Yeah. I love to start with live because you can always show the recording later. You can always edit it later. You can always give clips later. Oh yeah, love live. Well, Kimberly, I've held you here for a little over an hour. Let people know where they can find you. What social media platform do you hang out on the most?
Mostly it's Facebook. We do have a Facebook group, the Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel Facebook group. If you want to join that, we post all of our events there. We also have one for Speakers Playhouse. So you can check out speakersplayhouse.com and you can go and join us for our weekly event. And you can also go to Speakers Playhouse, which is a Facebook group, and we post all of our events there as well. And we, as Erica was pointing out, we actually do have quite a few virtual and live events. So we would love to have you come and play with us in a bigger way.
Yeah, and you guys can see her today at Speakers Playhouse because it starts at 10:30 Pacific and 1:30 Eastern.
Just a few hours.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate you coming back here for the second time. I hope we get to see more of you. Oh, Kimberly's going to speak at the January event, Virtual Event Producers Leveling Up. So
I'll be advertising it as an affiliate as well.
Yeah. Oh, Kimberly is also going to do a masterclass on let's see, the creation of this workshop. So you can catch her on, let's see, the 11th also.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Kimberly.
My pleasure. It's a pleasure being here always.
Hooray.